Oh yeah. So one of the other things is we'll finish recording FRP and then we'll just be kind of hanging out and Davey will usually just be quietly singing whatever song is stuck in my head, but replacing one of the words with Dewey. And so I'm the other day he had Amber by 311 stuck in his head, and I
Oh my
may or
god.
may not have gaslit him into changing it to Dewey is the color of your energy. So
Jesus fucking Christ. Oh man.
anyway, how do we
How am I
start the
like
podcast usually?
I'm becoming a folk hero to people I don't know exist. Bro, what?
Oh my god.
There's gonna come a point in time I'm gonna visit North Carolina again, and I'm gonna go around to shops and shit, and people are just gonna know who I am already, and I'm just gonna be the most confused person on the face of the earth.
We're doing the marketing for you.
How do you know who I am?
We're Chris Channing, Dewey.
No, no.
Dewey Chan.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, how do we normally start the show?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
Football. Yeah, football.
Oh, you know what? I should play us in because I made a bunch of theme songs last season. There was one that never ended up getting onto the show because we went on hiatus and also ended up being factually incorrect. Maybe this will be our play-in music. This is when Trevor Lawrence got his ankle rolled up on in that primetime game, and they thought he was going to go on IR, and I was like, "There's only one man that can replace him that they need to bring back."
My QB's on IR. I wonder just where you are. I guess we never really moved on.
God.
It's really good to hear your voice, calling for the snap to lead the team. Gonna win the Jags the title, finishing the job from 17. Let's go, take it to the Super Bowl. He'll make the Jaguars offense real forceful. Bring back Blake Bortles.
The most impressive part about that is that you managed to make Hinder worse.
That's what we do here on Oofsides, and we're back for a 5th season by unpopular demand. Who are you people? I can't remember how to do the intro to the show.
Football.
Oh yeah, football.
Football.
Diseased football.
If we're going by the names, and here I'm Ham the Great.
Yeah, I'm Flower K-pop.
I don't even remember how that happened.
I'm
It's been too long.
I'm Dewey, and I have COVID. Let's get this on the road.
Get away from me.
Yeah, we gotta hang on. Let me just move over here. Get away from you.
You gotta disinfect the server.
Yeah. I actually did find recently where these names came from, but that's not interesting or relevant. So anyway, 2024 season's here. I gotta say, I was pretty checked out on the off season, or over the last few months, and then this like last week, I realized that I've gotten back in, and I figured out why. And I'm going to tangent this already to talk about a different podcast, but I've been an avid fan of Around the NFL for like 6 years, and then it just got canceled out of fucking nowhere because the NFL is an idiot. And then after it got canceled at the end of May, I just kind of stopped paying attention to football because I was really mad. And then the guys just got picked up for a new show a week ago, and now all of a sudden I'm interested in football again. So it's crazy how that works. Anyway, how's your guys' off seasons been?
Interesting.
Yeah, that's
Had a lot to think about for my team this offseason.
As we know, it's going very well, assumably. So,
I mean, it could be worse. It could definitely be worse.
That is true.
Yeah, I don't know if revolutionary is the right word to use, but Having things that you've been used to for your entire life going away with the snap of a finger is certainly something to take in and register and get used to. So kind of still doing that for now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, all I've known is pain the whole time. So, yeah,
This
more of the
is
same.
this is why it's great to be a Pittsburgh sports fan, because you're rewarded with the success from the Steelers and the Penguins, but the Pirates are always there to keep you in check.
Yeah, it's all about balance. It's the
Yeah.
karmic forces.
And then my favorite race car driver killed somebody, so that helped with the process as well. So you'll get
Yeah.
used to it.
Yeah.
See, for about 30 or 35 years, the Patriots kind of existed to keep Celtics fans and Bruins fans in check. So I think now the market has corrected itself and we're back there again like we were in the 90s.
They're almost like overcompensating for it. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they've been way too good. Like, we got to get real fucking bad. Like, real quick.
They certainly did. They certainly fucking did.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just hop into this. So a lot has happened during the off season, and Dewey's been tracking it. This Google Doc is literally 10 pages long, and I thought he wrote it all up today, which would have been insane.
I don't have enough energy for that, COVID or not.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just hop right into it, starting with the defending AFC East champion Buffalo Bills.
What happened?
Not
Yep.
Everyone's old. I think that's the best way to describe it.
Not just that, but obviously the biggest playmaker on this team is no longer on this team because the Bills, after losing in the playoffs again to the Chiefs again, decided to trade Stephon Diggs away to the Texans, which of all the teams to do that, I was not expecting it to be Houston, but what a great fucking pickup for them, and it's a big loss for the Bills.
Yeah, and this was one that I think everybody saw coming from like mid-season because Stephon
Agreed.
Diggs was visibly not happy. And I did notice in that playoff game against the Chiefs, specifically that last drive, like Stephon Diggs just kind of, I want to say gave up, but like Josh Allen threw him like 3 or 4 like perfect passes that he just didn't catch, and I could tell he was kind of checked out by that point. So something happened. Yeah, it definitely. I don't know if something particular happened, but you could tell by the end of the year that like they were not as close as they had been previously. And unfortunately, they didn't really. I mean, they added some guys to replace him, but like Matt Collins and Curtis Samuel are both like okay guys, but they're not Stephon Diggs. So I don't really know what the Bills are doing.
And they signed Chase Claypool too, but then they released him because I guess he got hurt, so they caught him with like an injury settlement or something. So he's just gone now.
God, I forgot about that.
He'll be in the great CFL in the sky.
Yeah. Mitch Trubisky is their backup quarterback once again. And
hang on, Chase Claypool injured his toe.
Yeah, they put him on IR because he hurt his fucking toe.
He hurt his toe.
Oh my god!
I don't know how you fuck your toe up that bad.
Well, not to be that guy, but like turf toe is a thing to where like it's painful just to even like stand. So it might have been
that's your fault.
Yeah, just
don't get hurt. Yeah.
Forehead.
They also notably made Joe Brady the permanent OC because he was the interim guy after they unceremoniously fired Ken Dorsey last year. But he did good enough to be the new guy, so
yeah, that was
something to work with. But maybe it won't be that bad.
Yeah, I think that was the right call. I mean, their offense was some butt ass shit, and then they brought in Joe Brady, and they were like, "Oh wait, we can run the ball." And then all of a
feels
sudden,
like they remembered how to play football.
Yeah, and then after that,
zero reason for them to be playing how they were with Ken Dorsey there.
Yeah, I think people tend to forget that the Bills in the span of about 7 weeks went from the 13 seed to the 2 seed, and that's synced up with them making Joe Brady the OC. And Josh Allen went from what the fuck is this guy doing to hey, maybe this guy should be the MVP. So they might be on to something.
And
Yeah.
again, not having Diggs is a big loss, but still having Josh Allen gives you a chance to win just about any game any week, so they'll be
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Oh yeah, they might take a step back this year, but they'll still be the Bills.
Yeah, they'll probably
Um,
still win the division.
Yeah. And speaking of that division, the Miami Dolphins, I think the biggest one, or one of the two biggest things that happened was Vic Fangio gone after a season as DC. Um, there was rumblings that he was not happy there, and I believe Fangio's in Philadelphia now, if I remember
That
correctly.
sounds right.
Um, but if I recall correctly, that's where he wanted to go the whole time. But like, I think the Eagles just like straight up didn't have an opening for him, and he was like, "I'll go to Miami for a year." So,
It felt very
um,
disappointing too because like I remember at the beginning of last offseason, everybody thought that was such like a slam dunk hire and it was going to be one of the guys that was going to help that team finally take the next step, and then it looked borderline disastrous some weeks, especially
yeah,
that Baltimore game towards the end of the season where they just got shit whipped and
yeah.
looked like they
Oh
had
my
no
god, I
clue
forgot
what they were
about that.
doing.
Yeah. They it just like from a visual standpoint too. I can't imagine Vic Fangio like being the right hand man to Mike McDaniel, because like Mike McDaniel's a fucking nerd. Um, so that was
That's just
odd.
not a good culture fit.
No. And
Definitely not.
the other big one was Tua got signed to his long awaited extension. What do we think about
Um,
that?
the market that the quarterbacks have now is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Like I totally understand the need, don't get me wrong, to pay the guy that you think is your franchise quarterback. I just can't wrap my head around a guy getting $50+ million a year that still has not won a playoff game and has only been able to put together one fully healthy season. And was he really good in that fully healthy season? Yeah, he was, but you still haven't proven a whole lot.
Yeah, that's the thing, cuz like the
And
way
he's
the
not the only
QB
one this
market
offseason either.
Yeah, the way the QB market works now is really weird, where it's just like a next man up thing. So
Pretty
like
much.
the fact that Geno Smith and I think Baker Mayfield got like a mid-range contract
They
as
did.
well. Yeah, the fact that those guys got just like middle market extensions was actually really surprising, because like conventional wisdom would tell you that it was like, well, you have to sign him for like 55. Because I mean, you got to think about it. At one point, Kirk Cousins was the highest paid player in the NFL, and then he was replaced by Derek Carr. And I might be misremembering the order of that, but I know both of them at one point were the highest paid players in the NFL.
There's also that ungodly Daniel Jones extension around the same
Yeah.
time.
Oh my fucking! I still can't believe that happened.
Oh.
My God.
I think
Oh,
Tua's
God.
worth his money. I think
Yeah,
he needs to stay healthy. I think he just needs to get used to the game. I think he is used to the game, and if he can stay healthy, he'll do well.
and he showed a ton of upside. It's like what you're saying, Dewey. It's a matter of staying healthy and like
And
consistency.
performing under pressure too.
Yeah, exactly. Other notable signings, I'm trying to remember exactly. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they signed Shaq Barrett and then he retired.
Yeah.
They got Jordan Poyer from the Bills, one of many, and Saran Neal. A lot of Bills defenders, because that is an old
The
defense
mass
on
exodus
the
of them
move.
this offseason.
Yeah. So I would imagine much of the same from the Dolphins going into this year. One team I'd have no idea what to expect is the New York Jets.
Yeah, this one is really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Williams they got from the Chargers, who, when healthy, is a really good deep ball threat, which, if Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy, the two of them could potentially do some pretty cool shit together. A lot of what ifs there, though. They traded for Hassan Reddick, which on paper was a fantastic move to make. He's like the third most sacks in the
Yeah.
last 3 seasons.
What happened?
They don't want to pay him, and he doesn't want to play now. And he requested a trade already without ever playing a game for them. Which, to me, is like the most Jets thing ever. Is to
So
make a move like that and to not fucking bring it to fruition.
So from what I understand, from what I've heard, right, is like the front office made that trade and ownership is in charge of paying people, right? And they traded for him knowing that he wanted an extension, and then the Jets ownership is being cheap and he's like, "All right, well, I'm not fucking playing for you." then." So it's just bizarre that it's like there's so much dysfunction up top at the Jets that it's like the general manager and the owner can't even agree on a player that they traded for, right? Because like Joe Douglas guaranteed wants to pay him, and the ownership is just like, nah, we don't want to spend money, even though we're like the richest team in the NFL.
And it's
So
not like Joe Douglas has done a bad job either, because he traded for Morgan Moses and he signed Tyron Smith, which, for as terrible as an offensive line that was last year, made two really good signings in trades to address that and to strengthen the help around Aaron Rodgers, so maybe he doesn't tear his Achilles on the 4th snap of the season again. But this whole thing with Hassan Reddick just... it doesn't piss me off because as a Patriots fan, watching the Jets still be dysfunctional, it's really funny. But as a football fan, it's like, dude, get your fucking shit together. You have one of the premier pass rushers in the NFL in front of you on your team. Pay the guy so he can fucking perform for you and get you better.
What I can't fathom is he wants to go somewhere where he's going to get a long-term extension, and he sits out if he's not going to get one, and everybody gets their panties in a twist over it. Like, what did you expect?
yeah, exactly.
He made it clear what he wanted, and he's being fucked over by the Jets, and now he's not going to get anything in return for a trade. So they really just handicapped themselves with somebody that they traded for, but they don't want. They don't want him.
I
Which
can't
one
even
is
laugh
it?
anymore because the Patriots did the exact same thing.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, speaking
Yeah.
of the Patriots, should we just jump into that one too?
Yeah, so obviously the big one back in January was Bill Belichick, who had literally been the coach of the Patriots for my entire fucking life, is no longer the coach of the New England Patriots. Like, he was hired by the team like I think a month or two after I was born. So the preseason game against the Panthers a week ago was the first game I've ever watched with a coach other than Bill Belichick, and that was fucking weird. That was really, really fucking weird.
Yeah,
Arguably more weird than not seeing Tom Brady on the field.
yeah, that's just gonna feel wrong this year. Um, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more when we get into it. But the fact that like maybe only one team was interested in him was interesting to me.
Yeah,
So
and I think Gerard Mayo, like, he played under Bill Belichick, he's coached under Bill Belichick, knows. I mean, if there's any guy you want to get to replace Bill Belichick, it's got to be a guy that basically grew up as a football player and as a coach around him. So I think it's a good hire. Problem is, he's got a pretty weak roster to work with here. It's a weaker roster from last year. As I said a few minutes ago, we did the same thing. Matthew Judon, they just didn't want to fucking pay him. They ended up trading him to the Falcons, got a 3rd-round pick out of it, but it's still super disappointing because he was the best player on the team, and now he's not here anymore because he didn't get paid what he should have been paid. And I know, like, Elliot Wolf is like a brand new GM, basically, kind of in a pretty tough spot. I don't know if Robert Kraft was in his ear about that or not, but it still sucks. Like, one of the few bright spots that this team was going to have this year is now gone, and that's kind of, well, not kind of, it is pretty disappointing. But Donta Hightower being a former teammate of Gerard Mayo coming onto the coaching staff, though, that's pretty cool. I like that. I think there were worse people than Alex Van Pelt that could have been offensive coordinator. I don't really have a lot to say about that until we get actual gameplay. But, open ears or open eyes, open minds on that one. Devontae Parker's gone, which was kind of cool because he wasn't good. And Juju Smith-Schuster being gone's really cool. Bro was ass, wasting fucking money in a roster spot. Thank you. Have a nice fucking day.
Do you guys remember when Devontae Parker and Juju Smith-Schuster were like guys that everybody's like, he's kind of good. Like, imagine if he gets on a good team with a good quarterback, and then
Yeah,
they're just out
about
of the
that.
league now.
It will burn my ass for a while that Juju Smith-Schuster received the same contract that Jacoby Myers did. Like, why not just re-sign Jacoby Myers?
Yeah.
I don't know. Just a thought. But
Yeah.
extending Christian Barmore is pretty cool. Extending Stevenson's pretty cool. Extending Mike Onwenu was very cool. I was very concerned they were going to let him end up walking in free agency, as well as Kyle Duggar. So trading Judon sucked, but they extended some of the other key defensive guys, so it hasn't all been that bad. The Mac Jones experiment is over, thankfully. He's gone. Have a nice fucking day.
He'll enjoy his
Jacoby
rap
Brissett
career.
isn't the sexy option, isn't the best option, but I would take Jacoby Brissett 99 times out of 100 over Mac Jones. So,
Dude,
hey,
it's so
you know,
crazy to think about that Mac Jones made the playoffs and the Pro Bowl.
yeah,
And 2 years later, he is out of town.
he went from doing the gritty in the Pro Bowl after a touchdown run to being the backup to Trevor Lawrence. Like, dude.
Ugh. Yeah,
Uh,
that is a prime way to just show like everything that was wrong with the Patriots in the towards the end of the Belichick years.
Yeah. 2021 was fun, man. That was a fun year.
Yeah.
And, you know, at least this year, there's like an expectation that we're going to suck. I don't think anybody really thought that the Pats are going to be that terrible last year, but now it's happened, and I can go into this year knowing that if we suck again, I can make it fun. And it won't be as miserable this time.
There was optimism going into last year because they, the Matt Patricia OC experiment had failed, and they were like, all right, we got an actual offensive coordinator now, and
We can
was
fix Mac
worse
Jones.
somehow. It was somehow worse.
Yeah.
So
Like 3 straight games of allowing 10 or fewer points and losing all of them.
that's got to be a record.
I still can't wrap my head around some of the things that happened to this fucking football team last year, but it's done. It's over with. And again, if they're bad again, I can make it fun this time. I can, can go in knowing a game is probably not going to go how I want it to go, and I can just try to enjoy it as much as possible.
Yeah, you can
Brand
be
new
pleasantly
slate,
surprised.
new coach, new front office, a lot of new players, a lot of new moving parts. You know what? Fuck it. We're probably going to suck, but maybe it'll be fun this time. Maybe it'll be a fun kind of sucking and we can enjoy some stuff. We'll see.
Yeah.
You also got rid of
Gerard
Joe
Mayo
Judge.
era is here.
Oh, they did get rid of Joe Judge. That's right.
Thank God.
And also shout out to longtime special team ace Matthew Slater, retired.
Hall of Famer, argue with your mama.
Him and Steve Tasker right up there. So yeah, and I believe that is the AFC East.
Yeah.
Now let's throw it over to the North, Steven, your domain. But we'll start with the Bengals because they started by promoting QB coach Dan Pitcher to OC. Wasn't really following much of. I'm not gonna lie, like I kind of forgot about the Bengals last year because Joe Burrow got hurt and then they just kind of disappeared from my mind.
They tend to do that.
Yeah.
Probably to be a much heavier pass offense this year, though, because Joe Mixon's gone.
It was pretty much the only thing they did over the offseason.
Pretty notable thing.
Send him to Houston.
Yeah.
They
Shit, they got Hakeem Butler
for that too.
Wait, hang on, is that who I'm thinking it was? I was gonna say I watched the UFL like conference championship game, and Hakeem Butler, even though the Battlehawks were awful in that game, like he was the one dude that I was like, damn, this guy should be in the NFL. And I can't remember who it was who he was talking to somebody like post game, and
I think it was Wade Phillips.
Yeah, it was Wade Phillips, and Wade Phillips was like, "I'm gonna get your name out there, man. You deserve it." Yeah,
I'm glad Wade Phillips is still coaching. By the way, he's cool.
Oh yeah.
Good old UFL.
Yeah, Hakeem Butler Awesome pickup. I think he's going to be. He should be at least NFL caliber. Like that dude can. I mean, he's just a big dude who's really good at catching footballs. Like, what more do you need?
Especially if T. Higgins does end up leaving Cincinnati after this offseason, he could be potentially a pretty decent replacement for him without having to go to the draft.
Yeah, exactly.
That whole thing is still kind of sort of unresolved-ish. So they're going to have to worry about that. And they still need to extend Jamar Chase, which they haven't done yet, and it's a week before the season. They better hope he doesn't hold out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that was one of the things was it seemed like they were going to have to pick between T. Higgins and Joe Mixon, and then they traded Joe Mixon, and they still haven't signed T. Higgins. So who knows what's going on over there?
Don't really know what the whole thought process there is. They signed Zach Moss from the Colts, though, so I guess he's going to be their starting running back now, and Von Bell also a pretty solid pickup on defense, but besides that, kind of a quiet offseason for the Bongles.
Yeah, and I mean, they weren't even that bad of a team because they had some good games even after Burrow got hurt. Just the main objective is keep Joe Burrow on the field because when he is a top 2 or 3 guy, and when he's not, they are a middle of the pack team. So.
You also forgot about him turning into Eminem this season.
That is right. Yeah. Did he? What? He had some comment about it. Yeah.
We might be entering even year Burrow, like how about 10 years ago the San Francisco Giants had even year bullshit. We might get this again with Joe Burrow if the haircut provides a performance bonus to him.
Oh my god. Dude, I just found from Cameron Wolf, Bengals QB Joe Burrow says he bleached his hair because he, quote, got bored.
I feel that, honestly.
Oh my god. And so I just posted a picture of Boomer Esiason from college, and I'm like, yeah, he does look like that. Yeah.
How long until someone calls him Joe Shady?
Oh god. So, yeah. That was the Bengals. The other team from Ohio, the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say? Sorry.
Nothing.
Great podcasting we got going.
They hired Mike Vrabel. They signed Jordan Hicks, Jameis Winston, Naheem Hines, Hakeem. I'm not pronouncing that. Devin Bush and Tyler Huntley.
Yeah, so I do want to talk about real quick the QB situation because last season
something.
Oh my god, I genuinely forgot his name for a second. Deshaun Watson, that's what it is.
Groper Cleveland.
Yeah, Groper Cleveland. Had like 2 good games in the middle of the year and then went back to being Cleveland era Deshaun Watson. And then he got hurt, and then Joe Flacco came in and led them to the playoffs, and everybody was like, holy shit, this like actually likable person as our quarterback. And I won't lie, I did start to get that like tingly feeling of being like, all right, hell yeah, when Joe Flacco was the quarterback. And then they got fucking crushed by the Texans in the playoffs.
They got demolished.
It was so bad. Best part was that Texans player basically breakdancing on Joe Burrow's back. If you've ever seen that clip, it's pretty good. He like slides and he gets tackled, and the guy like lands on him, and then he's like on his back on Joe Flacco's back, and he does like a full 360 spin before falling off of him. It's hilarious. I'll have to find it after this.
Winning comeback player of the year by only playing 5 games is still one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Damar Hamlin died, and he didn't get comeback player of the year.
Yeah, our 2 options were a guy that played 5 games and a guy that died and was a healthy scratch for like 13 of them. Like,
also, it's like the 3rd time that somebody got comeback player of the year for coming back from just being shitty. Like fucking Phillip Rivers got comeback player of the year one time for that.
I mean, they came back.
Yeah.
Damar Hamlin only played like 1 snap.
Yeah,
You know,
he was the 12th man on the field on that game-losing field goal block against the
Oh,
Broncos.
oh,
well,
no,
didn't
but
they do that
don't
other thing?
don't forget that fake punt against the Chiefs in the
Oh,
playoffs.
God.
They had him run for some reason. One of the dumbest plays I've
Dude.
ever fucking seen.
That had to be Sean McDermott. He was like, "Dude, I'm in the replacements right now. This is the climax of the movie. Like the guy that everybody cut. Oh wait, this is real life. Ah, fuck."
I was in like genuine shock when that happened. Like
he was
I
like
don't even
genuine
think
thing. He's like, they're gonna make a movie about this.
yeah, it's not gonna be a good one.
Oh fuck. But yeah, so the the Browns front office saw that, we're like, wait, shit, people like Joe Flacco more than they like Deshaun Watson, and so they
Who could have
traded him.
thought?
And instead they're like, why don't we get people that nobody has strong feelings about to be our backups? So that's why Jameis Winston and Tyler Huntley are there. So
Noted guy that has never had problems with the law, Jameis Winston.
no. So
there ain't no crab legs in Cleveland.
Yeah, him and Diet Lamar Jackson both backing up Deshaun Watson now.
Yeah.
Remember, was it last year when they won that game and they were in a locker room and he was on his crutches dancing?
Oh no, that was a
Dooney.
couple of years ago. Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
They were playing. It was the Tom Brady Bucks. Yeah, and he tore his ACL, and then he was just fucking grooving with his crutches.
I love Jameis.
Jameis did have a really good quote last year, where in week 17 or week 18, when they were already beating the Falcons, and they were gonna call a kneel down play, and they were like, "Wait, Jamal or oh god, their running back he used to be on the Lions.
Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams, yes." They were like, he hasn't scored a touchdown all year, and so they ran a fake kneel to get Jamal Williams a touchdown. Like while already up by like 20 points on the Falcons.
Dude,
and
Arthur
like
Smith lost his fucking
yeah,
shit.
Like everybody gave the reason, we're like, yeah, fuck the Falcons, like as their reasoning for it. And oh my god, I'm drawing a blank on everybody's names now. The head coach, Dennis Allen.
Dennis Allen.
Yeah, he like was profusely apologizing for it, and Jameis Winston in his fucking press conference was like, "Yeah, we got the call to kneel, but we vetoed it." And then they were like, "Isn't that a little disrespectful?" And he was like, "What do you think? Do you think it's disrespectful?" So it's like total anarchy in the fucking Saints locker room.
Dennis Allen and Arthur Smith, one of the head coaching matchups that the league has ever seen. But just Arthur Smith getting so mad about that and then getting fired right after the game.
More on Arthur Smith later.
Yeah. So I appreciate that Jameis is bringing an air of whimsiness to the Browns QB room. So
if assuming Deshaun Watson gets hurt again, it will be very funny to see Jameis throw 6 picks against the Steelers.
Oh yeah, and he's gonna throw for like 900 yards in that game.
Yeah,
also.
yeah, 6 touchdowns, 6 picks.
Jameis, I just can't get over how funny Jameis Winston is. Like the fact that he had that 30 touchdown, 30 interception season for the Bucks, and then was like, I deserve to be extended. Look at my numbers. I'm cooking. Also, I can't really see. And, like he got LASIK surgery in the offseason to try to keep his job because he's like he needs to wear glasses or contacts, but he doesn't want to wear them while he plays. He's like, fuck it, I don't care if everything's blurry, I'll be fine. So that's my QB.
The Browns also overpaid the fuck out of Jerry Jeudy for some reason.
God,
I still don't really understand that one at all.
Yeah. He is Jerry Jeudy is did you guys ever see when oh my god, why can I not remember anybody's names today? Steve Smith, when he fucking went off on Jerry Jeudy last year.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just tore him apart. Yeah, that was
He's not that bad, but it just wasn't a good fit with the Broncos. And like I don't blame the Browns for taking a flyer on him, because if he pans out and looks the way he did at Alabama, it's a good pickup. But to give him that kind of money before that happens is a little bit crazy.
Yeah, it's a bit odd.
I mean, you look at who was throwing to him. Fucking
that is true, yeah.
Russell Wilson and
Was
It
it
was even
Jared
there
Stidham
before
at the end of
fucking
last year?
Stidham.
Oh god.
Oh god, I can't even remember.
I mean, before that, you had like one okay season of Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock.
Case
else?
Keenum was there too, wasn't he? Or was that before
He
Jerry
was
Jeudy?
before that. Was Flacco before or after that?
I think Flacco was before Keenum. Maybe.
I think you're right.
There's been
Yeah.
so fucking many of them now.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hang on. Judy was drafted in 2020. So let's go back to 2020. That was the year with Drew Lock and Jeff Driscoll.
Oh my
And Brett
god.
Rippon started a game.
Oh, and
Kendall
Kendall
Hinton
Hinton.
started a game.
Oh, that's right. Is Kendall Hinton still on the Broncos?
I think he's out of the league by now. Let me look.
Damn.
But the year after that was Teddy and Drew Lock. 22 was Russ and Brett Rippon, and 23 was Russ and Stidham.
Oh my
Like,
god.
Oh,
I would take a flyer in the same position.
Yeah. And as we've seen, which we'll get into very shortly, maybe the Broncos weren't the problem. Maybe it was the quarterback.
I don't know. I don't know. More on that later. I don't know
Yeah.
though.
I don't want to.
Yeah, well, we'll just get closer to that. We'll start talking about the Ravens. They signed Derrick Henry, which I think that's just a perfect fit. Because when I think Derrick Henry is just like a bowling ball, and when I think about what the Ravens need, they just need a big guy who hits people. So I
Basically,
like that.
what they had with Mark Ingram in 2019, but on steroids.
Yeah. It is also funny that like the Titans and the Ravens had a real brief, like 2 or 3 year long rivalry that was pretty fierce, and now the Titans like marquee player of the last decade is now a Raven.
Eddie
So.
Jackson also, if he can like regain his Pro Bowl form, that is an insanely good signing by them too.
Oh
To
yeah,
an
yeah.
already really good defense.
His pretty short like peak was like top tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think they're a little thin at wide receiver, but besides that, this is probably one of the best rosters in the AFC, if not the entire NFL.
They're definitely up there, yeah. Yeah, I mean the goal is again get over the hump and somebody beat Pat Mahomes. So I mean that AFC title game was ugly when
That was disgusting.
Yeah, and like the biggest problem with that too was it raised a lot of questions about Lamar Jackson. Not that I don't think he can do it, but it was like there's mic'd up clips of people like basically begging him on the sidelines. So like, dude, you can take over, man. And he wouldn't run for that whole game. It was bad. So I mean they're kind of in a Super Bowl or bust position as well. Did we have much else to say about the Ravens? I don't know.
It's the Ravens. I mean, they fucking scare me.
Yeah.
Having
also-
an RPO with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, that scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
A bit of a side note, just quickly too. I wonder how much longer their front office is going to give John Harbaugh. Like, obviously he's a really good coach, still probably top 5 coach in the NFL, but that Super Bowl was 12 years ago, and they have not made it back to the Super Bowl since. Like,
Yeah,
at what point are you going to say, look, if we don't get to the Super Bowl, we're going to have to make a move here and get somebody else that can get us there again?
Yeah. I think the fact that he's like completely reinvented the Ravens offense like at least twice and propelled them right back to, Lamar Jackson MVP, I think that definitely helps. Because when we get to, when we'll talk about, a guy like Pete Carroll or whatever, or Mike Vrabel, still good coaches, but they weren't really like they needed a refresh. And with Harbaugh, like he's definitely shown a lot of versatility and he's willing to make those changes and adapt to what they need to be rather than being kind of stuck in his own ways. So I think that helps. But yeah, like if then the next couple of years they can't get back there or they just keep running into these teams that they should beat, I think the questions are definitely going to start to mount. And speaking of mounting questions, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep. What's going on here?
It doesn't, as a Steelers fan, it doesn't look that bad from the inside compared to the outside. You know, you get Justin Fields and you get Russell Wilson, both on damn near minimum deals. You know, you spent what, like $3 million between your two quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Pretty
If
much.
it's not good, just punt on the season and go for somebody next year. They have a new GM that's finally making his own moves. They had a good draft. They got rid of Satan. I wouldn't have brought in Arthur Smith, but there's worse hires they can make. If you make it a run-first offense under Smith, like what he did in Tennessee, I
I was
don't
just
see
looking
any
at
reason
Smith.
they can't succeed.
Yeah.
You know, you make it a brutal offense and a even more brutal defense. You know, Steelers could be going to the Super Bowl again. You never know.
Genuinely,
we'll-
too,
we
Patrick
just
Queen
have
might be
to-
one of the best signings by any team all offseason,
Yeah,
especially from a division rival.
getting Patrick Queen and Willie Gay and Cordero Patterson and Cam Sutton again. I don't know about that one. But they got a lot of crap off the team and they brought in a lot of question marks. But I think it's going to end up better for them than what they had this past time around.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, I still don't understand why they traded Deontay Johnson, though.
Because he wasn't getting targets. He's not going to get any more targets now that George Pickens is there. So you might as well get value for him while he's still playing. You know, you don't want to hold out like you did with Le'Veon Bell. You don't want to lose your chance of that if you know you're going to ship him out anyway.
Yeah.
The Kenny Pickett experiment, though, ending the way it did was extremely unceremonious.
I was surprised how quickly they punted on him.
Yeah.
Well, supposedly they were going to make Russ the QB1 and he had a huge bitch fit about it. And I was like, okay, you're not going to handle this, so we're going to get you out of here too.
Yeah, that tracks.
It was great, though, that we saw his first NFL game.
Yeah, we did.
And we legitimately thought he was going to be really good after that.
The stadium was chanting his name as we were leaving.
That
And-
place was fucking electric, dude.
and
For
it
a
ended like
preseason
this.
game. It was like 49,000 people for a preseason fucking Steelers game.
Oh my
And they were all
gosh.
cheering for Kenny Pickett. It was unbelievable.
Dude,
and
and
now
to
we're
be
here.
fair, like his first game when he stepped in, he played really well and like, you know, showed that flash, and then he just like never got back there again. Yeah.
He's scared to throw because he's scared to get hurt, and obviously was playing in one of the worst offensive schemes in football history. But
Yeah.
even then, in his time with the Eagles so far, he hasn't been good either. He's just not a good quarterback.
Yeah.
And if he
would've
has
liked-
character issues, get him out.
I would, just for my own curiosity, though, would have liked to have seen him in that offense post Matt Canada. Like, with the new guys that are, like, obviously, if they didn't want to do it, they didn't want to do it. But I would have been curious to see how that would have gone, maybe for like, the first couple games this season. And if it didn't go well, then maybe then say, yeah, this isn't the move, and trade him then. But I don't blame him for doing it when they did either.
Yeah.
I saw enough out of him physically that I was done on him by the end of the season. And I'm glad he's gone.
I do think I think Justin Fields has a little bit of potential still, but I think this situation could be really bad for him. You know, he and Russell Wilson have looked equally hapless in preseason so far, which is not a good sign. But like you mentioned, this could finally be the year that oh my god, why can I not remember anybody's fucking names today? Mike Tomlin. This could be the one year where Mike Tomlin finally is just like, all right, let's just fucking tank for a season. So
Yeah. If it works out, then it works out. If not, then we just punt finally, which
yeah.
could have been
Mike-
done a couple times, but
Mike Tomlin's gonna find a way to win 9 games and get a top 5 draft pick. He'll find a way.
That'd be the most.
Be like, you
Steelers-
can't fire me.
I still cannot believe that team won 10 games last year.
That is
I-
fucking absurd.
Just what the fuck?
one of the best defenses of all time paired with one of the worst offenses of all time.
The best
Defense
part
still wins
is
championships.
the best part is Steven was calling it the whole season too.
Yeah,
He's like,
that's how it is. And I would expect this season to be the same.
Yeah.
You know, the
I
defense didn't get
swear
any
to God, if
worse.
they go 10-7 again, dude. Swear to fucking
It's
God.
gonna happen. You can't
Steelers
stop
go
it.
Super Bowl.
Dread it, run from it. 9-8 arrives all the same.
Also, a big shout out to the fact that they have Arthur Smith, and he was like, "Well, I gotta bring Cordell Patterson and make him do running back plays." Obviously,
I'm cool with
So,
it.
yeah.
I loved
But-
watching him though. The 1 year he was on the Patriots, I fucking loved watching him on the field.
The way I reason it, the defense didn't get worse. And there's no way the offense could get any worse. So let's send it. Let's see what happens.
Like the stamp.
Just fucking send
Yeah,
it.
fucking might as well.
Yeah. I guess that's it for the AFC North. Speaking of sending it, I think all 4 of these teams are in some form of sending it.
What a division this is gonna be.
The
in the
AFC
AFC.
South is probably it is the worst division in football. Every time I turn on my TV and I go to CBS and I cringe every time I see an AFC South matchup on. Because that means everything else is absolutely out of it.
That being said, this could actually be the best this division's looked in a long time this year. I think every one of these teams got better in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
I guess we'll start with the Colts. They won the Joe Flacco sweepstakes. And sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
healthy Anthony Richardson, from what we saw last year, was very, very fun to watch and can win you football games. If he can stay healthy for a full year, I mean, hell, the Colts lost a playoff spot on a divisional Week 18 game where if he was playing, they very easily could have won, and they almost won it anyway, if not for an awful fucking drop at the end of the game. I would not be surprised if this team makes the playoffs at all.
You were that close to Gardner Minshew playoff quarterback. I'm still mad.
If only.
Yeah, no, I think that was the most surprising thing about last year is how good Anthony Richardson looked in the the brief snippets that we got to see. He was genuinely electric, and the narrative going into last year was like, I don't know why they drafted this guy. He's not ready to be a quarterback, and then he fucking killed it.
Yeah.
So, I've got high hopes for the Colts this year.
Well,
No,
we'll
it
see if
seemed-
they continue it. I mean,
yeah,
as you get tape on a guy, things can always change.
yeah.
I think Anthony Richardson is good for now, but we'll see how the defenses adjust.
Yeah. Speaking of adjusting, I don't know if that's actually relevant. The Jacksonville Jaguars, what a collapse last year.
God. Poor Garrett.
They finally looked like it was like, yeah, the Jags, they're just going to be good. And then, I mean, they were, you got to remember that primetime game against the Bengals, they were in a situation where if they won, they would take the number 1 seed. And then Trevor Lawrence got his ankle rolled up on, and they lose that game. And then Trevor Lawrence gets hurt again the next week, and then he gets hurt again the next week, and then everybody was surprised that he wasn't playing well by the end of the year, and then they collapsed and missed the playoffs.
The other quarterback also that I mentioned earlier that got the massive ass contract extension in the offseason.
Yep. I'm looking up the details of it right now.
It's in the 50s per year. That much I remember. I think it's an almost identical contract to Tua's.
5-year,
annual value.
$275 million, average annual salary of $55 million.
Can
Which,
we pause
again-
here, Matt? I heard your
Yeah.
keyboard, and my first thought was creamy.
It is creamy.
It is. So
Oh my fucking
sounds
God.
like
Dude,
you're
it's-
texting on like a BlackBerry.
That's what I was saying. It sounds like the keyboard from like the first gen iPhone. It's fucking crazy. I'm like addicted to the sound of it. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I get
That's
wanting
staying
to
in.
pay your franchise quarterback, but I don't think Trevor Lawrence has earned $55 million in annual salary. I just don't, but that's
I
where the
mean,
market is now.
I think he's good enough to make that money.
He
He
did
just has
have
to stay healthy.
Hang on, I gotta look this up. He did have to
wanted to
play a
fight again.
season under Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
I think this counts partially as like reparations.
Fair enough.
That's fucking crazy.
They also poached the Bills for center Mitch Morse and wide receiver Gabe Davis. They traded for Devin Duvernay, so clearly trying to put some talent around Trevor Lawrence, because that receiver core did not end up turning out as well as everybody thought it was going to, especially with Calvin Ridley basically bailing on them.
Eric Armstead is also a sneaky good signing on the defense. Like,
Yeah.
basically anybody that you can sign on defense from the 49ers is probably going to be an upgrade, and it certainly is for Eric Armstead on that defensive line.
Yeah, they're going big this offseason. Franchise tag on. I see Josh Allen has changed his name to Josh Hines Allen. Would have been funny if he just like, no, I'm the real Josh Allen.
I think they extended him after they did that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
Yeah. They also traded for Mac Jones, so they have two of the quarterbacks from the 2021 draft class, which is pretty funny.
I really hope Mac's rap game flourishes in Jacksonville.
God damn it.
I hope, like, I don't wish anything injury related, of course, on Trevor Lawrence, but like I just hope something somewhere happens, whether it's like them being super good and resting starters in the last week or whatever, or if he gets suspended for something really stupid like a DUI, whatever. I just want a situation of some kind to arise where we get Mac Jones to start one game. I just want to see him start one game just to see how it goes.
I mean, he's not going to get suspended for a DUI because it's Jacksonville, and that's like you're not allowed to drive sober there.
That's true.
That is a
Yeah.
problem. Sir, have you been drinking tonight? Why not? Yeah, and that's
It just
Jaguars.
hands you a beer through the window.
Do you have any firearms on you? Oh, here, hang on. You're gonna need one. Let me go get. I stole that joke.
Whitest kids you know.
I stole that joke from. Well, there's your problem. On their episode about Oldsmobile diesel engines.
Oh my god.
Anyway, the Houston Texans.
Speaking of Oldsmobile diesel engines.
Yeah, they're way more
Texans.
reliable than that. The surprise AFC South champions.
And what an upgrade they had across their entire roster too.
Oh yeah. Joe Mixon and Stephon Diggs brought in. Jeff Okuda, that's a really good pickup for their defense. Punter Tommy Townsend.
Danielle Hunter, also from the Vikings, is low key like a super good defensive line ad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same with Danica Watry. I think he got suspended for a couple of games though, but he's still good when on the field. And Azeez Al-Shaair, also like a sneaky good pickup from especially a division rival like the Titans.
Yeah, Danielle Hunter, one of the many very good Vikings players that they just let go this offseason because they were just like, fuck it, we got to start over.
Danico Autry will miss the first 6 games of the season for steroids.
Unbelievable.
Boo. I don't really have much to say about the Texans other than they're probably going to be even better because CJ Stroud was another one of the surprises of the draft last year.
Probably going to win the division.
But also taking a wide receiver core led by Tank Dell and an emerging Nico Collins, and you add Stephon Diggs to that, like, might be the best top 3 receiving core in the fucking league now.
It's up there. So, I mean,
Dalton
Schultz is a really good tight end too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Also, new uniforms for the Texans this year. I can't remember if that was in the other section.
They look like shit.
Yeah, I'm not
a fan of those. Like, dude, they needed new uniforms, but that was not the move.
Honestly, I was fine with what they had. Like, it was simple.
It was dated.
It was dated, yeah.
Yeah.
But... Although, in hindsight, looking at the new ones isn't bad, but I did wish they went with red for the primaries over that dark blue. Dark blue just doesn't look good on a football field.
Yeah.
Yeah, people have been saying they should make their red alts their primaries for a long time, too.
The red helmets go fucking crazy.
Those were so nice.
Yeah. And not so nice, the Tennessee Titans fired Mike Vrabel after 6 seasons, which I thought
still
was
do not understand why they did that.
That was his first losing season as a coach, I'm pretty sure.
It wasn't like all terrible. Like, they did a lot of dumb shit, but like they also kind of redeemed themselves a little bit. Like trading for L'Jarius Sneed is huge. They have a lockdown number 1 corner now on that defense. They got Calvin Ridley from, again, a division rival to pair with DeAndre Hopkins, which, like, if those two are at their peak, Will Levis is gonna have a fucking field day with those two.
Why did DeAndre Hopkins sign with the Titans?
I don't know.
What did he see in them? I'm still so confused by that.
And losing Derrick Henry was a big blow, especially with what he's meant to that team and that community for a while. But
Yeah.
Tony Pollard, not a bad replacement at all.
Yeah, he was last year was a little disappointing, but I mean he's been a really good running back for the Cowboys. Seems like everybody wants their skill players now. I'm totally not mad about that at all.
They also decided to raid the Seahawks secondary because they got Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams both from the Seahawks, which, I mean, yeah, Jamal Adams has barely played the last 2 years, but we've seen what he's capable of before, and if he can stay healthy for a while, it'll probably pay dividends for them.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, there's stuff to be excited about for the Titans, but I still think for now this is a last place team in the division.
Yeah, the big thing, they just need, like, good offensive line play finally, because they have been just a horrendous offensive line for like 2.5 years now.
Really, since they got rid of Taylor Lewan, it's just been downhill and hasn't shown any signs of strength whatsoever.
Yeah, so I mean, as long as that's the situation, like there's only so much that Will Levis can do. Also, did you guys see that he signed an endorsement deal with like a mayonnaise scented fucking perfume?
I did.
Oh god.
I can only imagine what that fucking smells like.
That dude needs help.
So apparently he said that the mayonnaise and the coffee thing was just like a bit that he did. I don't know if I believe that. That would not be something that I would come up with and then drink. But Jack guys, I'm totally doing this ironically, obviously. I totally don't do that. Yeah, I think I mentioned it last year too. For me, that would be a deal breaker because I'm not keeping mayonnaise next to the coffee machine at the office. Like, we're just not doing that. So,
but the other thing is, to me, like, you know, he's getting all these mayonnaise endorsement deals and shit. Gerard Mayo has been right there for 15 fucking years. Why did you not do this with him in like 2009 when he was making fucking Pro Bowls?
Maybe he doesn't like mayo.
Yeah, he's like actually more of a horseradish guy.
He likes Miracle Whip.
Oh, you,
Gerard Miracle Whip.
Miracle Whip is a fucking stain on society. That shit's so bad.
I'm just thinking of the Kyle Kinane joke now, where he's like, mayonnaise doesn't get old; it just becomes Miracle Whip.
What's that? What's that taste? Patience.
Well, I mean, the one I'm still mad about was that McDonald's sponsored Jamie McMurray for like 8 years, and they never made a Jamie McFlurry. What the fuck? It was right there the whole time.
Really, a Jamie McAnything.
Hire me. What the fuck, McDonald's? Also, Denny Hamlin's been sponsored by FedEx for how long? How come they've never done anything like Denny delivers even on Sundays?
Just
He's
about
the
like they
mailman.
fucking had
They
it.
did that.
Shut up. Well, they don't do it enough because I've never seen it.
Fucking clearly, because they're gone after this year.
Yeah. Anyway, that was the Tennessee Titans.
You're mad because I made you think about Denny Hamlin, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. You know what else I don't want to think about? The fucking Broncos.
Oh, do we have to? Do we have to?
I mean, it's fun to.
I mean,
fun
we
to laugh at
found
him.
we know where Brandon Jones is going this year. He's leaving the 9 car and he's going to be the punt or the safety for the Dolphins. So,
Oh yeah.
I mean, for the Broncos. I can't speak. That was a bad joke. Matthew, edit
Yeah.
that out.
Yeah, Russell Wilson gone. They're
God.
eating, I think, that entire contract. Like,
Yes,
it's like
they are.
like the most dead money ever from any
We're gonna-
player. They're
Russ,
just stuck with now.
We're gonna pay you $80 million to fuck off.
The Broncos have a $53 million cap hit from Russ
God,
this year.
fucking Christ!
I got to see how much the Steelers are paying him this year.
It's like, what, $1.5 million?
$1,210,000.
And the Broncos have paid him $53 to not be there.
$53 million to not play for them.
Bro, that
Pay
is
$53
highway
million
fucking
to fuck
robbery,
off.
dude. Bro really just swindled a fucking franchise out of $80 million. That is impressive.
God.
I want to be his fucking agent right now.
Dude, right? I still can't get over that stat where it was like he had more bathrooms in his house than touchdowns.
Oh,
Yeah, I did. And
so
just think, this is all happening to the best possible
Payton.
person.
yeah.
Sean Payton.
The best part too is that despite Russell Wilson being gone, there is still a Wilson in the quarterback room for the Broncos because they
better one.
decided to address that by trading for Zach Wilson.
You know what the best part is? Is he actually looked good in preseason.
He's closer to all those MILFs.
That's true. He's only a state over now.
Yeah.
And they also did draft Bo Nix.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, which we'll get to that. I forgot Will Lutz was there. Oh my gosh.
He
I
like
don't know
followed
what to,
Sean Payton or something.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect out of the Broncos this year, and quite frankly, I don't care.
It suck, dude.
I hope they lose by 70 again.
That was so fucking funny. I'm glad you reminded me of that.
Remember when they
One of
had
the
that
funniest
crazy
things
Hail
I've ever
Mary
seen.
play?
Oh yeah, in the commies game.
And they failed the 2-point conversion after that.
Yeah, remember when
That's
the commies started 2-0 and then what happened?
Man.
Oh.
Speaking
Broncos are
of,
Oh, they also got new uniforms this year, and they also
Yeah.
kind of look like shit.
they're better than what they had. I'll say that.
That's true. Definitely true.
Yeah, theirs might not be great, but they were an upgrade because what they had for 25 fucking years sucked.
Do you
Boy,
think
I
the
know
guy-
another football team in the AFC that could use another uniform after 25
Dude,
years. God, I wonder who that could be.
John Elway and Steve Atwater wore those fucking uniforms, and they still had them up until the end of last year.
I like to imagine that like the guy who designed them wasn't very happy about him. It was like, oh, whatever. And then they won the Super Bowl the first year, and he was like, ah, fuck, now I gotta stick with them.
And now they're iconic. They're stuck
Yeah.
with these fucking things.
Have you ever seen? They were originally gonna wear blue pants with the home uniforms, and John Elway was like, "Fuck no, I'm not wearing blue pants with blue jerseys." And so,
Oh my god, I just found it.
yeah, and so that's why for like 20 years they had a white pair of pants with an orange stripe and a white pair of pants with a blue stripe because John Elway was like, "I'm not wearing fucking monochrome. Get out of here."
That's insane.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Says the guy that drafted Tim Tebow.
Yeah, they wore
flipped it
those in
around?
London.
Oh
For
my
one
God.
game, they wore that combo in London, and it looked awful. So that just perfectly sums up the Russell Wilson era.
Remember when we were doing this podcast before the start of the 2022 season, and we thought that the AFC West could be the strongest division in the history of the NFL, with like all 4 teams winning like 11 or 10 or 11 games? And then that happened.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
fucking grief.
I do remember I did say that Nathaniel Hackett should be fired after week 1 of that season, and I was right about it.
You turned out to be not far off.
It's only off
What
by
a
like
time
12
that
games.
was.
Like, that is crazy to me that it's like there's only like 4 coaches who have been fired mid-season in their first season, and like 3 of them were scandals, and then Nathaniel Hackett got fired because he sucked.
And then Frank Reich last year.
Yeah, and then Frank Reich got fired mid-season because he was terrible as well.
It's still so fitting that Nathaniel Hackett is now on the Jets. I hope he continue. Like, I don't have anything personal against Nathaniel Hackett, but
Yeah.
my God, it's gonna be so funny if the Jets' offense still sucks with Aaron Rodgers. I need it so bad.
He seems like a nice dude, and I do remember we were very happy when the Jets beat the Broncos last year and Nathaniel Hackett got the game ball. We're like, cool, because they absolutely just like drug him through the fucking mud, and then he won, and I was like, that's cool. You still suck, but we're happy for you.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, if the Jets are terrible again, it is gonna be like, that's gonna hit like crack. The best crack anybody's ever had at any point ever.
yeah.
So please continue to suck.
Yeah, and that was the Broncos.
Yeah.
The Chargers. I
Are the
think we did.
Chargers?
It's a lot to take in here.
They fired Brandon Staley after that fucking game against the Raiders where they scored like 60 points on them. I do remember
Richard
saying,
Sherman,
"Can
they
you
should have fired him
fire?"
at halftime.
Yeah, I was like, "Can you fire your coach at halftime?"
They should have. They
no,
genuinely should have.
It wasn't gonna get any worse. Like, and they hired Jim Harbaugh. So Jim Harbaugh's back. That's gonna be interesting. They also have Greg Roman as their OC, which means they're gonna run the ball about 80 times a game, which is an odd decision when you have Justin Herbert as your quarterback. But I guess we'll see.
And Gus Edwards as your starting running back because they elected not to re-sign Austin Eckler. More on that later. Keenan Allen is gone. They traded him away. They did not re-sign Mike Williams. So there's like, yeah, obviously they had probably the greatest jump in head coaching ability this offseason of any team. But they're kind of thin at receiver with a quarterback who is one of the best arms in the league. Not really ideal for that. Especially
Yeah.
with what we saw out of Quentin Johnston last year was not very good.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect. I think that there'll be a tighter operation with Jim Harbaugh, but are they going to score a lot of points is the thing that I'm curious about.
Like, this might be a third place 8-win team, but from where the Chargers were last year, that's still a step in the right direction.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
If they can start putting things together this year, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
They just have to show that they're putting things together.
You can't waste the prime of his career like what they did to Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Then we got the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Who cares?
It's been an odd offseason. They signed Matt Araiza, and somehow that is not the most controversial thing that's happened this offseason.
Yeah, Carson Wentz is their backup quarterback now.
That's so funny to me. Oh, man.
Re-signing Chris Jones was huge, especially with his holdout to start last season.
Yeah.
Getting him under contract long-term for probably the best defensive tackle in the NFL right now.
Not only that, but re-signing McCole Hardman and tight end Taylor Swift is a good, huge bolster to that offense.
I do want to talk about real quick. Speaking of tight end Taylor Swift's boyfriend, the behind the back pass. Did you guys hear Patrick Mahomes' quote about that after the preseason game that he did that?
I think so.
So he did this one where like he was just like running up the middle of the field, and Pat was rolling to his right and threw it behind the back to Travis Kelce, and then he said he was like, "Yeah, Travis ran the wrong route, and I was pissed off, and so I did that out of spite, and he still caught it."
That's fucking ridiculous. Like, that's the thing is like I cannot fucking stand the Chiefs at all, right? But I cannot dislike Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. I can't fucking do it.
Dude, that is so because I'm not only doing this on FRP, I'm derailing this podcast to talk about motocross as well. It's fucking Jet Lawrence. Like I've been so sick of him winning constantly for the last year and a half, but that guy is so goddamn funny that I can't bring myself to hate him. Like he's so naturally fucking hilarious every time that he talks. I'm like, God damn it, I want to fucking hate you, but I can't. And that's how I feel about Pat Mahomes a lot, because like it does you get pretty sick of him, and then you see shit like that and you're like, God damn it. Like he's just bored at this point. He's just doing side quest shit.
He's like Max Verstappen. He's just gonna retire in his prime because he's bored.
It's like right now there was a motocross race in the early 2000s where James Stewart was on such a different level that he ran down Chad Reed and passed him, and then waved him by a lap later so he could pass him again because he was bored. Like that's the kind of shit that they're doing. So.
Yeah, it will not surprise me at all if this team three-peats. And I don't know if there's ever been a three-peat in NFL history, but
there has not.
Like
in the Super Bowl era, there has not been.
This is the team that would fucking do it.
Yeah.
It would not shock me one bit if we're right back here on August 20th of next year talking about them going to 4-peat because
You got to think
they're
about
just that
too.
fucking good.
Last year, their offense was shitty, and they still fucking won it with a walk-off touchdown in the Super Bowl. So it's like when they're down on offense and they're still winning the Super Bowl, just like good luck.
But the improvement that they had on defense throughout last year too, again with
Yeah.
Chris Jones coming back in the middle of the year and Steve Spagnuolo putting together one of the best units now in the NFL. It's like good luck finding a fucking weakness this team has.
Yep.
And you know what? Good luck exploiting it for more than like half a game before they find a way to fix it.
And yet, somehow, at the end of the year, they lost to the Raiders, where Aiden O'Connell completed like 4 passes. And I think that's a good way to alley-oop this into talking about the Raiders, because they made Antonio Pierce the full-time head coach. I like that move a lot.
Good
Agreed.
move. They should have done this with who's their other guy before this?
Rich Bisaccia, yeah.
Yeah, Rich
Bisaccia.
Bisaccia. They should have kept Bisaccia. I'm
He-
glad
he
they
just-
learned from their mistakes and they held on to the guy that they like.
Yeah. And even
I'm glad they're-
even if it, like, the thing everybody's pointed out is like, even if Antonio Pierce isn't like the best schematic head coach, he knows what it means to be a Raider. He just fits the culture of the team so well.
Sometimes that genuinely means more though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially
for a
when you
team like
can,
the Raiders.
with how bad the Josh McDaniels thing went and how poorly
Good
he fit
fucking
them.
grief, dude.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking of people who just feel right as a Raider, Gardner Minshew is the starting quarterback, and that just feels right. He was born to be a Raider, you know.
To me that's going to go down as such a what if. Like
Yeah,
looking back on it 2 years ago now, if the Raiders decided to take the interim tag off of Rich Bisaccia and Josh McDaniels doesn't leave the Patriots, how different things look now.
Yeah, I mean, McDaniels would probably be. Well, no, Belichick would probably still be with the Patriots.
Yeah. Like we might have fucking like, and this isn't me trying to make it about the Patriots or anything, but like a move at the time that really didn't seem all that significant ended up changing a lot of fucking shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people forget the Raiders were ultra close to beating the Bengals the year that they got all the way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And how different does that look if they beat them and like maybe they fire Zach Taylor after that game or something? Like
Yeah.
that could have like, dude,
Could have
fuck.
changed a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have to imagine, because if in case you guys don't remember, the last year that the Raiders were in Oakland, their final home game, the Jaguars, who were not good that year, came into Oakland and beat them. And Gardner Minshew said something along the lines of, he was like, "Yeah, it felt pretty good. I've never seen more middle fingers in my life before that." And Mark Davis saw that and was like, "It's time to bring the boy home." He's the last guy to win in the Oakland Coliseum. He's born to be a Raider. I'm telling you.
Does that mean they're going back to the Coliseum?
No, what they need to do then is loan him to the Athletics for a game next month and like make him the last pitcher on the mound before they move to Sacramento.
Gardner Minshew's coming for the save.
Yeah.
Yeah, for celebrities in baseball games, they shouldn't throw to first pitch. They should throw to last pitch.
Yeah,
2 outs,
they're gonna
bases
close
juiced.
out the
Here
ninth.
comes 56.
They should have to pinch hit. Oh man.
Yeah, fucking instead of I don't know who's the best closer in the fucking MLB right now. Instead of,
Would've been
instead of the
Edwin
Red Sox
Diaz.
bringing in Kenley Jansen and have him bring in like fucking Ben Affleck for the ninth inning and just see how it goes.
I was gonna say, you could say any name right now, and I'd be like, "Yeah, that's probably a pitcher."
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, they're bringing in fucking
Mahomes
Mike
goes for
Birbiglia.
ninth for the Royals in the wild card game, dude. Like, fuck
Doesn't
it.
he own part of the Royals now?
He does.
He could be
Yeah,
an owner
fucking-
player.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The
They
Raiders
also-
also decided to bring in Christian Wilkins this offseason, which is yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Michael
they
Gallup,
overpaid him a little
too.
bit, but still makes their defense better.
And
Yeah.
Alexander Madison.
Yeah, because
that-
they
and
decided
Michael
not to
Gallup.
re-sign Josh Jacobs for some reason.
Yeah, that was an odd
Don't
decision.
get that one.
So, all right, we're at least an hour deep into the show, and we just finished the AFC. Do we want to just do the NFC next week?
I
I don't know.
mean, We could knock it out of the way.
Yeah, we should just get it out of the
We
way.
could just kind of speed run it.
Everybody pick a team and we'll do it at the same time.
Okay.
God.
All right. For the division.
Do you remember when we did that for one of the speed rounds where we all just fucking highlighted a game? Or no, we were getting caught up on the news and we all picked like 2 news items to read out at the same time.
That's right.
Oh my god. No, yeah, we can speed through it. We'll pick up the pace here. We'll
Yeah.
start with wait, hang on. But
Inferior conference.
while we do this, hang on. I'll play because we got to talk about our team. So Dewey, go ahead.
Yes, the Washington Commanders. New head coach, Dan Quinn, because I guess the Riverboat Run experiment had run its course. So Dan Quinn, whose most recent memory as a head coach was being fired after the Falcons started 0-4 in 2020, he's fucking back, yo. He's
And
gonna
his-
lead the Commies with Jaden fucking Daniels as their starting quarterback. And I think they got Cliff Kingsbury too this offseason. Yeah, he's their
Finally came-
offensive coordinator now.
He
Yeah,
finally
look
came
at
back
that.
from Thailand or wherever he was.
Yeah, wherever the fuck he was.
And
then-
also, I want to point out the commies watched the fucking disaster that was the Cowboys playoff game against the Packers.
And they
Specifically,
hired their DC.
specifically the part where there were multiple plays where there was a Packers receiver with no Cowboy defender within 30 yards of him and was like, that's our guy.
That's still one of the funniest games I've ever seen. I'm sorry, but that was so goddamn hilarious.
Dude, when I saw that the Cowboys drew the Packers in the first round of the playoffs, I was like, oh, they're going to lose. Like, I just knew it. Like, there's
It
no
had
way that
that
they're
feel
winning that
to
game.
it.
I didn't know it was going to be that bad.
They also signed Austin Eckler, which was fairly interesting. Decided to replace Joey Sly with Brandon McManus, and then he did a very not good thing, so he's not there anymore.
I forgot what he did. I'm going to Google it.
I'm
and
pretty sure he
probably-
was accused of sexual assault by multiple people.
Who was the kicker who was like posting? Oh, it was Harrison Butker. That's right. Yeah, who was talking about how women need to stay in the kitchen. Oh yeah, Dewey, you were right. Okay, yep.
The fact that Harrison Butker said that as a football player for the one position where you can't hit him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then, you know, they released Joey Sly, who will hopefully be replacing Chad Ryland as the Patriots kicker. So I don't even know who the commies signed after that, but they had to find somebody else. But they also decided to sign Marcus Mariota, who I think is going to be wearing number 0, which is a quarterback fucking rocks.
That fucking
that
rules.
rock.
And they signed Zach Ertz for some reason. I honestly can't believe he didn't retire after last season.
Yeah, he's old.
And they signed, I think, Jeremy Chin from the Panthers, which I'm sure. Bobby Wagner, who, I mean, not what he used to be, but not bad either. Jeff Driscoll for some fucking reason. Kind of can't believe he's still in the NFL. Tyler Biotish was actually a sneaky good signing from the Cowboys. Kind of surprised they didn't re-sign him. Like, I think this is a third-place team tops, but with a new owner, a new quarterback, and a new head coach, this is probably the most promising the commies have looked, I would say, since RG3's rookie year.
There's a lot of potential here. Yeah.
They're finally getting the stink of Dan Snyder off that team.
It might
And
finally
to close that storyline, the Washingtons have Riley Patterson as their kicker now.
That's right.
Ah, okay.
Hopefully they get a new stadium too to like truly get rid of all the stench.
I've
Especially since
heard-
that's the stadium where all the sewer lines kept breaking.
I have heard that they finally have authorization to tear down RFK Stadium, and they want to put a new stadium in where it was.
That would be the perfect place for it.
So it sounds like they're finally going to move on from FedEx Field.
And like, you know, the nerds, the sports stadium nerds and us, sucks to see RFK Stadium get torn down, but like again, there is no better place for the commies to go than where it is. Or where
Yeah.
that site is. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
So yeah, things might finally be looking up for our team.
Oh yeah, and they
Um,
traded Sam Howell. Kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
kind of surprising.
we'll get to that later.
I like that this is the shortest entry in this entire list because the Cowboys have done fucking nothing this
They
offseason,
didn't do anything.
which is, I mean, big shout out. The best part is Jerry Jones said he's like, we're going all in this offseason. And by all in, he meant I'm not doing anything. So,
I mean, Mike Zimmer, I think, is an intriguing replacement for Dan Quinn. Has familiarity with Jerry Jones already, having been there for a while as the DC. But like, outside of that, and bringing Ezekiel Elliott back, like they really didn't do jack fucking shit. They let
They-
a lot of people go
Put him under
and
center.
didn't fill the holes.
that hurts my body. Like, there was a lot of good Zeke Elliott memories, and they were all at least 5 years ago. Jerry, it's time to move on.
Hey, you forgot they signed Royce Freeman.
Oh shit! Yeah, okay, they're going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's the move right there. That
What
was
position
the
is he?
It's a
A
running back.
running back.
All right, yeah,
Yeah, there's your Tony
everything's all
Pollard
right.
replacement. There you go.
Hell yeah. I have no expectations. They should have fired everybody and traded Dak last offseason after that fucking joke of a playoff game. But they didn't for some reason. I'm almost genuinely considering just not rooting for the Cowboys this year. Like, that's where the level I'm at right now.
I mean,
I might just become a Buffalo Bills fan for a year.
I think the Cowboys are going to finish in second place just because of who's behind them. But I don't think this is going to be a second place. Like, I don't know. It depends on how the rest of the conference goes. This could be like a 10-win playoff team in second place. It could also be like a 7-win second place team because it's the NFC East. This could go a lot of different ways.
I love the Dallas Cowboys because Jerry Jones literally just does whatever the hell he wants. And if
He
I was
really
obscenely
does.
rich and I owned a football team, I would do the same thing. We wouldn't be good, but damn it, I would be doing my best.
The thing I appreciate about Jerry Jones is he's like the only rich person who actually spends his money on shit. So I
Yeah.
give him that. So, yeah, this team is infuriating, and I have no expectations for them. So, yeah.
And then there's the Eagles. And there's a lot to take in here, too.
Yeah, they fired OC Brian Johnson and DC Sean Desai. Brought in Kellen Moore as OC and Vic Fangio. I think Vic Fangio is a good pick. Kellen Moore, not entirely sold on. First-hand experience. Thing I found interesting. So the Eagles started falling apart last year, and we still really
was
don't
funny.
know. Everybody was like, "What happened?" I know what happened. Remember when Big Dom, their like security guy, got in basically a fight on the sideline, and the NFL kicked him off the sidelines for the rest of the year?
yeah.
Do you know what happened immediately after that? Well, you know what else I found out about Big Dom? Not only is he chief security officer, he's also the senior advisor to the general manager and director of game day coaching operations. So he's basically like the manager of the coaching staff. He's basically like the guy who's there. Like everybody's talked about, he's there to keep Nick Sirianni like in a good mood. And when they got rid of him, Nick Sirianni and the entire team fucking melted down over the course of the season.
How long do you think they last with Sirianni?
Well, I think if Big Dom, the real head coach, is there, I think he does just fine. So
The shadow
think-
head coach.
he really
Deep-
is. That's the craziest
deep state
thing.
head coach.
I think if the Eagles do not make it at least to the NFC Championship game, he's gone. Truthfully.
I don't know if I agree with that because I mean, all 3 seasons they've made the playoffs. They made the Super Bowl year 2.
There were
I
a
think
lot of rumors, though, swirling about him maybe being fired at the end of last year. And
that is
like,
true. Yeah, with the way they melted down last year, it definitely
Yeah.
looks bad. But I think some whatever happened at the end of last year was an anomaly. I think they'll bounce back.
I don't know about that.
Well,
I
we'll see.
just
So obviously the big thing with the Eagles though is Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox both retiring this offseason. Like
2 legends. Yeah.
that was the one thing, like it was really funny to see the Eagles melt down the way they did and bounce out of the playoffs the way they did. But man, seeing Jason Kelsey walk off the field after that Bucks game, that was kind of shitty.
Yeah.
It had the same vibe to me that Patrice Bergeron had when the Bruins got eliminated by the Panthers last year. It was like you knew it was fucking over, and it sucked that it went that like that. It was like
Yeah.
you deserved a much better ending than he got, and same with Fletcher Cox. But with what Jason Kelsey meant to that offensive line, that team, that community, it's like, man, I wish he had gone out at least a little better than that.
Yeah,
And he
for
should
sure.
be a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt in my fucking mind that in 5 or 6 years, whatever it is, his ass will be in Canton. But I think Brandon Graham also said this upcoming year is going to be his last one, and he's been there for a super long time. So, like, they're gonna really need some guys to step up and become new leaders of that team and make sure that they don't have what happened last year happen again.
Oh yeah.
But it's okay. They have Kenny Pickett.
True.
They also signed Saquon Barkley, which was pretty big because
Yeah, what the fuck, Giants?
Supposedly he got hurt today.
Oh,
Oh
for
my
fuck's
God.
sake!
He tweaked something in his back.
Ugh.
And yet they also signed Devontae Parker, and then he fucking retired. So much for that. They signed Devin White, which was kind of interesting, to me at least. They brought back C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who took off for Detroit for a year. And yeah, mentioned earlier they traded Hassan Reddick away, which is a big loss for the defense. And yeah, Kenny
Interesting
Pickett's
tidbit
now the
about that
backup.
also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do want to go back real quick. Saquon Barkley when when the Eagles announcement happened, did you guys see what he ended up posting about it? He was basically like, "Sorry, Giants fans, I'm not trying to stick it to you guys. This is just what had to happen." Like he was literally like, "I know you guys hate each other. This is not what I'm doing." So, yeah, I think the Eagles are probably my pick for the division, but we'll see. It could go
They're
really poorly.
the least worst option.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the safe pick.
The not
I-
safe pick is the Giants.
Good fucking grief.
So Wink Martindale out after a season as DC. Shane Bowen is from the Titans, is now their DC. Got to talk about the Brian Burns trade because the Rams offered 3 first-round picks for him, and
I can't believe this.
they said no.
I
then
truly
instead,
can't fucking believe this.
The fucking Panthers traded him this year for a 2nd and 5th round pick. So,
Which is a steal for the fucking Giants.
yeah, Brian
Like-
Burns is a fucking all-star. Yeah.
Like obviously we're not talking about the Giants in a good light because of how last year went after how 2022 went, but truly this is one of the steals of the offseason by fucking anybody. Like this is the bright spot of all bright spots to what has all just been just a shit fucking offseason. Is at least you bring in one of the best pass rushers in the NFL for way less than what you should have had to pay for him.
Yeah.
But
I do also want to point out they signed John Runyon Jr., who's the son of John Runyon, who's an Eagles legend. So it was like, oh, you got a running back? Well, we got your guy's son.
and
What
they
are you
also
gonna do about
replaced
it?
and they also replaced Saquon Barkley with like was it Devin Singletary they signed?
I think so, yeah.
Like I mean, there's worse options than Devin Singletary, but like I don't understand why they didn't at least try to bring Saquon back. Like he was the focal point of their offense the last 5 or 6 years, and they just said, "Yeah, sure, go about an hour down 95 to our biggest fucking rival instead." Like, why?
Yeah. It just bizarre. Also, in case you guys didn't see, Daniel Jones looked fucking terrible in the one preseason game he's played so far.
Docker.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they signed Jalen Mills away from the Patriots. Why? I don't know, but they fucking cut him already. So,
Oh my god.
Good for you, I guess. And their backup is now Drew Lock.
Oh god. Who knows what the Giants are doing, man?
This is one of those teams where I will not be surprised if we come around to about week 7 and Brian Daboll is out of a job.
I wouldn't be surprised. Really wouldn't.
Truthfully, I think he might be the first in-season firing this year.
Yeah. When I think of who's on the hot seat the most, I mean, I think it's Mike McCarthy's number one, but Dable's right up there too.
And-
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say he really shouldn't be either. Like,
Yeah.
there was no fucking excuse for how last year went to go. With what they did in 2022, they should have been able to build off of that, and instead it just caved in on itself.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what direction they're going anymore.
A team that actually does have direction for the first time in like 60 years. The Chicago Bears. That's a weird sentence for me to say. And we'll get more into why when we get to the draft section. But a lot of big pickups. DeAndre Swift from the Eagles, Kevin Byard from the Eagles, Gerald Everett, Jonathan Owens, Brett Rippon as a backup.
The biggest quarterback-related news for the Chicago Bears over the
Yeah.
offseason.
Yes.
Um,
Extending DJ Moore was huge.
yeah.
Yes.
Like, I still can't believe that of that entire Bears-Panthers trade, the biggest part of that might end up being DJ Moore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Keenan Allen, huge pickup, too. He'll be a great addition for Brett Rippon, obviously.
And re-signing Jalen Johnson, too, who was like their number one defensive player last year. And got that taken care of before it had the chance to get ugly.
And also hired former Seahawks OC Shane Waldron to be their OC for aforementioned quarterback. And we'll get to obviously why there's a level of optimism about the Bears later, but they have been making some very big moves, and
they might not be last place this year.
Yeah, we're finally starting to see Matt Eberflus's like vision for the team. So, yeah.
And
Speaking of teams,
Loins.
Yeah, speaking of teams, also that are on the up and up, the Detroit Lions. Man, I'm still sad about last year. I still think about that occasionally. I'm like, damn it, they were that close.
Yeah,
but
they did some interesting stuff, for sure. They lost Michael Badgley for the season in the preseason. There was supposed to be their new kicker, but that guy that they signed from the UFO, I must say the UFO, Jesus Christ, the guy that they got from the UFL is fucking legit.
Yeah,
like
Jake Bates, the master, dare I say, Jake Bates.
Like, I think it was the very first weekend of the UFL this year. He hit like a 64-yard field goal that was nullified by the other team icing him, and he went back out there and he fucking hit it again. Like, identical kick right down the middle again. Hit like, I think, 2 other 60-yarders during the season. He's already hit from like 60 in practice with the Lions. Like, this could literally end up being one of the best signings of the offseason if he can, like, keep that up the whole year. And it's also a really cool story.
Also, big shout out that he's wearing 43 right now.
That's awesome.
A kicker wearing 43. Yeah, he hit a 55-yard field goal in Arrowhead.
That is nuts.
And extending Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown is also huge. 2 cornerstone players locked up long term.
Oh, yeah.
Trading for Carlton Davis, which was a very interesting move, but also helps fill the void by C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Marcus Davenport's a big pickup too. He's a very
and
good
DJ
player.
Reader. I'm kind of surprised the Bengals let him go. But I mean, obviously a bitter end to last year for the Lions, but they're in a really good position to end up right back there again to try again this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I believe in Dan Campbell, and I think, at least for now, anybody that's put in front of that team is going to succeed.
I would kill for that man.
I would run through a brick wall for Dan Campbell.
Yeah. Another team that's on the up and up, unfortunately, is the Green Bay Packers, because, god damn it, we thought we were rid of them finally.
How do they keep getting away with this?
They can't... I have
literally, what the fuck?
Hang on.
You can't keep getting away with it!
It's absolute bullshit. Like, and they fired Joe Barry, which is what everybody wanted, so now their defense might actually be good.
And the replacement for him as well, getting Jeff Hafley away from Boston College, is a really interesting hire to me. Who, like, I don't know if I'd say turned around BC's program, but it's looking better than it was for sure than when he got there. and he's always been a defensive-minded coach. Was at Ohio State before he was at Boston College. Definitely, I think this could be a game-changing move for them with defensive issues that they had all through last year.
Yeah. Also, they released Aaron Jones and then replaced him with Josh Jacobs, which, I mean, I think that's a pretty good deal.
And Jordan Love got the big money extension.
Yeah. Xavier McKinney also signed from the Giants. So, yeah, I guess we're just going to have to keep dealing with the Packers again. God damn
Yeah,
it.
they had one of the best off seasons out of anybody.
Yeah.
Fucking Jordan Love. Just figuring it out. Of course he figured it out.
Yeah. The best part too is you could see him do it over the course of last year, where he like got on the field and you're like, okay, he's a lot out of step. Then by the end of the year, he's like, oh, okay, I got it now.
I would say by like week 14 or week 15, you could kind of feel like they fucking did it again.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it just had like they hadn't even clinched a playoff spot, and you just knew like they're gonna be a fucking division round team, aren't they? It just had the fucking look, and sure enough, they did.
And then when it was they're going to their second home stadium in the first round, I was like, I'll just fucking pencil them in for against the fucking 49ers.
Easiest pick 'em of all time.
Pain. Speaking of team, so you mentioned that the Packers had one of the best off seasons. One of the worst off seasons.
Hang
Minnesota
on.
Vikings.
I have breaking news.
Oh shit.
From Mike Garofalo. It says former UFL quarterback E.J. Perry will be signing with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Let's go!
Yeah!
I'm
Let's
totally
go!
not Googling who that is.
EJ, you don't know who E.J. Perry is?
Hey, you know who
No.
E.J. Perry is?
No.
He was he was Browns quarterback. And I don't mean the Cleveland Browns, I mean Brown University.
College Brown. Yeah, I'm just looking down here. Doug, I don't fucking follow college. You know this. There is something really funny about him wearing a jersey that just says Brown on it. It's for colorblind people, obviously.
Well, for what it's worth, he was with the Michigan Panthers in the UFL.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he was actually pretty decent in the UFL. It's like good depth signing, if anything. Maybe he'll do something, maybe he won't, but
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, good for him.
We pray that he never sees the field.
And then there's the Vikings, which like this is such a
Poor
weird
Viking.
The best
This is
quarterback signing of the offseason, obviously.
this is such a weird one to take in because they made a lot of good moves on defense, especially like Andrew Van Ginkel was a sneaky good signing from Miami. Blake Cashman's nothing to sneeze at either from Houston. Donovan Greenard from Houston. Like, there was some good stuff that they did, but like, and Aaron Jones, I mean, maybe it's a 1 year gap thing, whatever, but like, there's worse people you could have at running back. But then you get to quarterback and you let Kirk Cousins walk, thinking you might get a guy in the draft. You trade up to take a guy that you might think could be the guy, but a lot of people didn't have going that high. He gets fucking hurt, and he's out for the whole year. More on that later. And so now you've got all these decent pieces, but you're left with Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold's
What
going to take this team
happened?
to the Super Bowl. I'm calling
yeah.
it now.
I'm mad I didn't have time to make my Sam Darnold theme song,
Like-
but I've got the lyrics written out. Like,
This almost has Case Keenum 2017 vibes to it, I swear to God.
hell yeah.
There's something about this that, as stupid as it sounds, makes too much sense not to somehow work. Like, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this team fucks around and makes the playoffs somehow. I really
It's going to
wouldn't.
happen.
I hope you're ready for Sam Darnold playoff quarterback because
Sam
it's happening.
Darnold playoff.
We almost got Josh Dobbs playoff quarterback last year.
We got Josh Johnson in the NFC title game 2 years ago. Never say
God
never.
Damn, right.
I forgot about that. Fuck.
I'm still on my shit that the 49ers would have won the Super Bowl if they put Sam Darnold in. Don't at me.
So, yeah, the Vikings are going to be a big question mark, and what they do this season is going to entirely depend on how Sam Darnold performs. Which
Hell yeah.
is not the best of things you want to rely on, but you know what? Maybe you get a pleasant surprise out of it, and you get a Case Keenum type run. Or
Let's go.
maybe he sucks, and you tank, and you get the best player in next year's draft. Who the hell knows?
Yeah. And that was the NFC North. NFC South, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, really interesting thing that I do want to start this with. So they signed Randy Gregory from the 49ers, and then he just never reported. Like
What?
they didn't trade for him. Like he signed, and then he was just like, eh. And
I
2
missed
days
this
ago,
somehow.
they really reached an agreement to release him with no pay because he was just accumulating fines because he just didn't show up to his job. So
That's
Who
incredible.
was it last year on the Patriots that just disappeared? Was that Matt
Oh, it was
Corral,
Matt
I think?
Corral.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
He just signed somewhere like a couple days ago.
I was gonna say I saw news about
I
Matt
think it was
Corral
the
the other
I
day.
think it was the Vikings.
Yeah, he's on the
Uh, God.
So Matt Corral is going to be backing up Sam Darnold this year.
Oh,
That is
man.
fucking beautiful.
Dude, imagine we get into a situation where Darnold gets injured and they're like, Matt, get it, and he's just gone again.
Oh wait, they still have Nick Mullins. I forgot they have Nick Mullins still too.
Oh, okay. Wait, where's Josh Dobbs?
Fuck, who knows?
He
Your
is.
keyboard is so creamy. He's on the Niners.
He's on the
Josh
49ers.
Dobbs with the Niners? What the fuck?
He swapped with. Oh, that's right. Actually, I saw a highlight of him the other day.
He swapped with Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Well, since we're talking about Josh Dobbs, I gotta play this again. So.
God fucking damn it.
And they say that a QB can save us without even knowing the place. And Josh Dobbs is throwing a touchdown, winning the Vikings the game.
All right.
If you don't like that song, by the way, I can't fuck with you.
Dude, it goes hard. Also, I do.
God, is Jaron Hall still on the Vikings?
He is. So that's their
Also-
four-headed quarterback room.
Jeez.
Sam
The,
Darnold, Sam Darnold, Matt Corral, Nick Mullins, and Jaron Hall to the promised land, baby.
They're just
There's
running
also
a bullpen of quarterback.
and a very important player got an extension for the Buccaneers as well.
There goes my QB. Watch him as he throws.
How many of these do you have?
There
Too many.
goes my QB. Baker Mayfield.
4 to be exact. Soon to be 5 when I make the Sam Darnold one.
Baker Mayfield's still one of the best legacy games of all time with the Rams.
You're goddamn right. I literally bought a Baker Mayfield jersey. Actually, I just remembered I never bought my Baker Mayfield Bucks jersey that I said I'd buy if they made the
But-
playoffs. Shit, I gotta do that.
But like nobody knew where his career was going to go even after that Rams game, and now he's like solidly a franchise quarterback again, and it's a feel-good fucking story.
Yeah. And I
So,
mean, even
like-
last year too. Like he landed with the Bucks on like a minimum money
flyer
deal,
on
and
him.
He took him to the fucking playoffs and then won a
The
game.
divisional round, yeah, and like damn near won that game too. They were almost in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Baker
Could you
Mayfield.
imagine how the Browns feel watching what he's doing and being stuck where they are now?
Dude, I mean, Baker Mayfield has more playoff wins or has twice as many playoff wins as Deshaun Watson in his career.
That's poetic. I
That's
can't
wonderful.
begin to explain how poetic that is.
You can't help but feel good about the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
And they
Uh,
extended Tristan Wirfs, which was probably their biggest priority of the offseason with how good he is.
Mike Evans too. That was a huge
Yeah.
signing because there's rumors that he was going to go look for money, but he seems like a ride or die Tampa guy, which is pretty cool. So
They didn't really do anything like that crazy in terms of free agency or the draft, but this was a divisional round roster that, save for Carlton Davis, is pretty much coming back untouched. So no reason why they can't do it again.
yeah. Speaking of teams though that do need to get to the playoffs, the Falcons, because they did fire, as we mentioned earlier, Arthur Smith after 3 seasons and hired Raheem Morris, the Rams defensive coordinator, as their new head coach.
This is going to be one of those teams where the coaching staff is going to dictate how far they go.
On paper,
Truly.
on paper, this should be a very good team.
Like,
but that's also what we were saying for the last 2 years. And one of the reasons
it's
they
different now,
won,
though.
yeah, they won the Kirk Cousins sweepstakes, and surely there will be no other quarterback news about the Falcons.
Oh, no, not at all. But, like,
Um,
even if you can, like, just look past that even for a minute, like, Kirk Cousins was at an MVP caliber clip before getting hurt last year. And if he could even be 80% of that, it's going to be the best the Falcons quarterback situation has looked probably since they lost the Super Bowl to the Patriots.
yeah.
Like, Matt Ryan was just not very great his last couple years. The Desmond Ridder experiment was fucking horrible. I can't believe they did that a second year. But they moved on from him, and they just traded for Matthew Judon like 3 days ago, who is one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, and they signed the best available free agent in Justin Simmons 2 days ago. I still can't fucking believe it took him that long to get signed by someone. So you get one of the best available pass rushers, you get one of the best available safeties, you add that to an already pretty good defense, and all of a sudden, this is looking like maybe a top 8 defensive unit in the NFL. And they got, I think, Jesse Bates this offseason too. Like, all that, plus Kirk, plus a rejuvenated coaching staff that might actually have an offense that resembles an NFL offense, this might be the division winner here.
I was gonna say, if any team's gonna knock off the Bucks, it's gonna be the Falcons, because they almost did last year. They should have, and they didn't.
I can't believe it's not on the write-up. But not only that, but they re-signed defensive end Kentavious Street for another year.
Yeah, Page and Jack.
I forgot about that one.
He's back.
The best part too was Jack was like, "Who the fuck is Kentavious Street?" And then literally the next week he had like a highlight-worthy turnover.
Yeah, to pick 6.
He did. And but obviously Raheem Morris's first go around as a head coach 15 years ago was not very good, but he has a lot more experience now than he did then. He's got a pretty good coaching staff underneath him. Like, I think this has the chance to go really, really well for them.
Yeah, I'm glad he got a second chance too. So.
And they signed Darnell Mooney as well, who isn't the flashiest receiver, but is a solid number 4, number 3 guy. Brought in Rondale Moore in the Desmond Ridder trade. Unfortunately, he's out for the whole season now, but when healthy, he's also another solid receiver option. Like, of any team on paper, the Falcons might have improved more than anybody else this offseason.
Oh, yeah. And then finally, another team that made some big moves, the Panthers, hired former Bucks OC Dave Canales as their head coach. I think that's a really good pick. Dave Canales, turned Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield into franchise quarterbacks. That's a big move.
I don't know if they didn't do it with Bryce Young, though.
Yeah. Also got Robert Hunt from the Dolphins, Damian Lewis from the Seahawks, 2 good O-linemen. Beefing up the defense as well, which was not good. They got Rashad Penny from the Eagles. They got Deontay Johnson as a receiving threat. So they're very clearly trying season 2 of the Bryce Young experiment, but
especially with the offensive line, because oh my god, it was teetering on sad watching him at the end of last year with absolutely zero fucking pass protection and really zero receiving threat outside of Adam Thielen. I mean, Miles Sanders is okay, but might want a better backfield option at some point. It was just fucking sad to see him get thrown out in the wolves like that with no chance of success whatsoever. So getting the 2 guys they did, the O-line should improve quite a bit now. I mean, Deontay Johnson's a solid number 2 besides Thielen. He's going to have more guys to throw to, but at the end of the day, this is still going to be a last place team. But it shouldn't look nearly as terrible as it did last year.
Oh, yeah. And then finally, we're going to move on to the NFC West. 49ers, Steve Wilkes fired as defensive coordinator after the Super Bowl.
That was shocking, by the way.
That was,
I still can't believe they did that.
Felt very much like he was scapegoated.
Yeah.
and hired Brandon Staley as an associate head coach. Don't really know what that means.
Like, yeah, sure, man.
It's a choice. Also got a couple more defensemen to add, because I mean they lost a lot of talent on the defensive line. So Yetur Gross-Matos from the Panthers, Leonard Floyd from the Bills, Jordan Elliott from the Browns. The aforementioned Josh Dobbs is now a 49er.
Biggest news though is them signing Robbie Chosen,
Yeah.
or
Is
whatever
he,
he wants to be called this week.
is that the
What-
name? I think he's stuck with that name for 2 years now. I think that's what
I think Robbie Chosen is like what he's actually doing now.
Yeah. Also signed Christian McCaffrey to a truly ridiculous extension that he deserves.
Earned every penny of it.
Yep. And they're gonna have to make an important decision on Brock Purdy this year, because say what you will about Brock Purdy, you can also say that he is the most underpaid quarterback in the NFL.
Oh yeah.
Before
If
we
they don't
move on
extend him, they're
from-
stupid.
Yeah.
Before we move on from the Niners as well, this whole thing with Brandon Ayuk is fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
To figure it the
I was
fuck
gonna
What
say-
the hell is going on, man?
We've covered most of the trades, so I was gonna say we could skip that, but I do want to talk about what's going on with Brandon Ayuk, because they had essentially, so from what I understand, they have a contract that is in place, like in hand, and Brandon Ayuk won't sign it because there is one condition that he wants in it. Nobody knows what it is. And everybody's saying, fucking put it in there, because Brandon Ayuk is worth it.
They also have a trade in place with the Steelers, and all he has to do is say, yes, please trade me to the Steelers. And he won't do that either.
Yeah, they had
But
a
he
deal.
has.
They had a deal with the Patriots, and Brandon Ayuk was like, I'm not fucking going there.
Which, that really sucks too, because, like, I think him and Drake May could have been really fucking good together. But
yeah.
at the same time, I don't blame him for not wanting to come here. Like, we're just a bad team now.
Yeah.
We're not a desirable free agent location like we were 5 years ago.
I
And-
will say, like,
But they would have paid the hell out of him though.
Yeah, like 2 years ago, there was a similar thing with Debo Samuel where he wanted, like, he's kind of wanted out, but nobody knew what he wanted, and then it just got resolved. And part of me thinks that's just going to happen with this also.
For their
don't
sake,
know.
they better hope so, because the longer this goes on, I think the less return they're going to get for him.
Yeah, and they're at a situation too where what does trading Brandon Ayuk do to improve your chances of winning the Super Bowl this year? Nothing.
It reduces it.
Yeah, trading Brandon Ayuk for a mid-round draft pick right now is a terrible decision. So
It should be a first-round pick, but are they going to get that? Who the hell knows at this point?
yeah. So who knows what's going on there? It's just bizarre. Also, I just realized we skipped over the Saints. All you need to know, Pete Carmichael didn't want to be the OC. And at one point he was like literally asking people like, do you guys want us to run more play action? And then they did. And they fired him after 15 seasons. Clint Kubiak's now the OC. They're going to be bad.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
signed Chase Young too, which was kind of interesting. And it says on there they signed Nathan Peterman. Well, they did, but then they cut him, and he's on the Raiders again. So Nathan
my
Peterman
God.
is still in the NFL. The Nathan Peterman career is still going.
Hell
But yeah, this might be one of the worst teams in the NFL, and Dennis Allen is my number 2 midseason firing pick.
yeah, I think that's pretty safe.
I don't see this going well at all.
No. One team that I have no idea how to predict is going to be the Cardinals this year. I think they'll be kind of good. I don't know. They looked decent with Kyler Murray, and I mean they've knocked the Eagles out of the number 1 seed last year, which was pretty cool.
That was hilarious.
So, who knows? They signed Mac Wilson, the linebacker from the Patriots. Sean Murphy Bunting from the Titans. That's a name that I recognize. DJ Dallas from the Seahawks. Some offensive line help with Jonah Williams. Zay Jones from the Jags. They did trade Rondale Moore. I don't really know what to think of the Cardinals this year. I think
That was such a stupid trade.
yeah.
Like, again, Rondale Moore, like I said earlier with Darnell Mooney, they're not necessarily flashy players, but they're probably like number 4, number 3 receivers who could get you probably 100 yards on a good day. And as a number 3 option for the Cardinals, that's not bad, but what the fuck are you gaining trading him for Desmond Ritter?
Yeah,
Like
that
that was the trade. It was straight up 1-for-1. You already have Kyler Murray there, and like sure, maybe you need a backup quarterback, but like you don't need to trade one of your better receivers for it. That didn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, that is a truly bizarre trade. I genuinely don't know what the deal with that is. Yeah, I feel like last year was just kind of a throwaway year for the Cardinals, and I think for some reason a lot of people were out on Kyler Murray a year after signing him to a big extension. And I think last year was like, okay, yeah, no, Kyler's still our guy. Like, it would be insane to
Yeah,
move
that
on
much is
from him.
clear. He's still the number 1 guy there, but I don't think
Yeah.
they improved their roster enough to not finish last again.
Yeah, I agree. So it'll be strange. Another team that definitely has their guy still, the LA Rams.
At least for one more year.
Yeah. So, oh god, I forgot they signed Jimmy Garoppolo to be their backup.
Yeah, and he can't even be the backup
Oh,
in the first 2 games because he got fucking suspended.
Oh yeah,
oh,
he
that's
did.
right. Oh my god, I forgot about that.
So I think their backup for the first 2 games then is going to end up being Stetson Bennett.
Dude, Jimmy Garoppolo in a Rams helmet looks so cursed. Holy shit.
Yes, their third string is Stetson Bennett, who has been fucking terrible in preseason.
Yeah, he had like one really good throw where people were like, "Damn, okay," and then everything after that was like, "Oh god."
Who the fuck is Dresser Wynn?
What?
That's some fucking furniture as their fourth.
He's
stringer.
their 4th string guy. Who? What? He went to UT Martin? What the fuck? So I guess
Um,
he's
This
their
is
3rd
what the
string
hell?
if Stetson Bennett gets hurt. Sure,
did we ever
man.
find out what happened to Stetson Bennett last year? Like, where did he go? There was the rumor that he was in rehab.
I think that's probably what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Also, Aaron Donald retired.
First
So-
ballot Hall of Famer.
Absolutely, one of the best defensive tackles, not only of the generation but maybe of all time. So,
And that's a massive loss for that defense. And like
Yeah.
that's one of those situations where truly nothing you do is going to be able to replace the just blatant hole that now exists there. But I think they have enough talent to at least still be a decent defense, especially picking up Tre'Davious White from the Bills, because the Bills were just bleeding defensive players this offseason. And he is coming off of an injury, but Trey White still probably a top 15, maybe top 10 cornerback in the league when healthy, and if he can give the Rams that even for a year, that's a massive plus.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there were there were rumors that Sean McVay is like already trying to beg Aaron Donald to come back for one more year, and he's like, "Nah, man, I'm out."
Fucking blame him, either of
Later.
them.
Yep. And finally, the Seattle Seahawks. I would at first I was surprised, but the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. Pete Carroll,
No longer the
technically
head
was
coach.
reassigned. He was fired, but they didn't want to fire him because he's Pete Carroll. He's no longer the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. I see it's a situation where he's still a good head coach. He was still doing a good job. But the problem is the Seahawks have not made it past the second round of the playoffs in 10 years. And
Yeah.
you know, with guys like John Harbaugh, like I mentioned earlier, they're able to reinvent themselves and their offense and revitalize the team and make these pushes.
It
And the
didn't seem like
problem-
Pete Carroll was able to do that.
No, and the problem is the Seahawks have been bad defensively basically since what, 2016? And
Roughly, yeah.
and that's been their biggest problem. And I think the way that Seahawks ownership looked at it is they're like, we love Pete. He's the best coach we've ever had. He brought us a Super Bowl, but we need to make a change. You know, we're not going to get better. We're going to be stuck winning 10 games a year and losing in the first or second round of the playoffs. So I thought it was weird at the time because, you know, I think Pete Carroll's a great head coach, but things got stale and sometimes you got to make changes. I mean, prime example is Tom Landry with the Cowboys. Great coach. Jerry Jones has talked about how much he regrets the way he handled firing him, but that was a move that had to be made. So
I think it was
Um,
Like-
also just the massive smack in the mouth that the football community got seeing Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick, and Nick Saban all out of their jobs in a 24-hour period back in January.
yeah, that too.
Like,
It was like
One of
whiplash.
the most monumental days in football history, seeing those three all walk away at the same time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
I literally, without any joking or anything, I got goosebumps seeing the tweets about all three of them. It was like, football changed today, and it's
Yeah.
never going to look the same again.
Steven, what were you gonna say?
It's the situation they're in with Pete Carroll. I think it's like Andy Reid in Philly.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a
You're
perfect
good enough
example.
you're good enough that we don't want to get rid of you, but we have to move on. And honestly, I think the Steelers could be getting to that point with Mike Tomlin too.
Yeah,
I would agree
Tomlin's
with
a
that.
really good example of that too. The Steelers are a patient organization, but I think the NFL has changed, and I mean we saw that last year because they fired Matt Canada midseason, and that's something that they don't do
Ever.
And so I think if the Steelers don't turn it around in the next couple of years and don't make a genuine jump and not just 9 wins wild card loss, I think you could see some rolling changes because the league is moving some of these old school teams and coaches by.
Yeah.
So
And
Which-
Omar Khan has done a good job so far.
yeah,
But I think the coaching has to match that too.
yeah,
And to that point, I think it's like almost sad in a way to see those kinds of coaches get passed by, but at the same time, it's also just a fabric of how things are. Like, eventually,
It's for the best.
but also just stuff evolves to where the shit that somebody makes work for 20 years just isn't going to fucking work anymore. And
Yep.
someday you're just going to run out of ideas to keep making new things work. And I think Pete Carroll and Mike Tomlin and Bill Belichick just finally reached that point.
Yeah.
Where it sucks to see him go, but that's just how it goes.
yeah. Ravens defensive coordinator Mike McDonald is the new head coach. They did like a whole cleaning of house coaching wise. Ryan Grubb from Washington is their OC. Aiden Durd is the new DC from the Cowboys, and Michigan special teams coach Jay Harbaugh is the special teams coach.
They hired Harbaugh.
They also traded for Sam Howell and haven't made a ton of moves because this does feel like a team in transition. So I don't think they're really going to be committing anybody to any big deals right now.
This feels like an 8-win team max.
It really does, yeah.
Whether they start Geno or Sam Howell, this feels like not a playoff team, but I think they'll be just a little bit better than the Cardinals, at least for this year.
Yeah.
But I gotta be totally honest, I also wouldn't be shocked if they finish behind the Cardinals, because that could go way better than we think it will too. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that was all of the team's basic roundups. We covered a lot of the important trades. I think I am going to call an audible because we are 2 hours deep into the show and we still have quite a bit to go.
Good.
So I think next week we're going to finish covering the draft, some of the other major changes that we missed, some rule changes, and then we'll get you your 2024 season preview. Because yeah, we're looking at like a 3-hour podcast if we do all of this. And I'm tired, and I also need to edit this.
I've had enough.
Well, good shit. I'm excited. Football's back.
We're so fucking back. We made it.
We are. Yeah. Do you guys have anything you want to plug before we go?
What do you mean by that?
Like any social media that you want to shamelessly plug? Or...
I thought you meant plugging something.
I mean that too. I mean,
Plug!
I've been
the-
waiting.
The second episode of the show, I said that, and Grant said my ass. So, you never know.
I don't have any shameless plugs. Just thanks for listening to my fucking voice for 2 hours talk about football.
Hell yeah.
You know.
Check
That's
out
cool.
the other shows here on Track and Turf Media. If you want to hear more from me, Fake Racers Podcast. I had a pretty good rant about IndyCar, and I told Roger to sell the sport about 8 times. So We also made a lot of jokes about the fact that we had 2 flips, and we make fun of Corey LaJoy pretty often on there. So that was a good time. So if you want to hear about racing and for me to be autistic about motocross, go check that out. Also, Joe be streaming Maverick Night in America pretty frequently.
I was there
Steve-
last week. It was interesting. Very interesting.
That was a time.
I saw somebody, I think it was Tyler Stallhood, just blow turn 1 and hit the tires and roll over, and I had to concentrate really hard to not say "Holy fuck!"
Yeah, you get that with those big jobs.
Yeah.
Oh,
Also, keep an eye out. Another show might be returning to Track and Turf Media soon that people have been asking for. So, not
the
gonna get
Makita
too.
Truck Series.
Yeah, this is season 3,
True.
baby.
Now we're officially back.
Well, yeah. And I'm actually gonna try to remember to insert our outro music into the outro in post, because I forgot to do that for most of last season.
Unbelievable.
So we will see you next time.
Yeah. One more thing.
Okay.
You Google my name, and bunch of cool things come up. You should do that and like, hire me. I need my
I'm googling it with my
Creamy.
keyboard real quick.
creamy keyboard.
Oh yeah, there's some cool stuff coming up.
Very cool stuff.
Yeah. Hey, there's your face.
Yep, aided by
Oh my
the
God,
power of Squarespace.
The Bubba McDonald's Dale Earnhardt car is like the 4th thing that comes up. That rules. Yeah, go check that out. Follow Steven. And we'll see you.
Me, a follower, needing a lot now.
Yeah, and also give Steven a job.
Yeah.
Football!
Football.
Goodbye.
Good football.
Sayonara, bitches.
Football.